Hey, what is up you guys? I'm James from James' Reptiles. Today I really want to talk to you guys about the next animal I purchased, and along with that I really want to talk about the animal market and how I decide sort of what animals I'm going to purchase, right? So there's a lot of people who love animals, and that's great. I love animals, I love everything about them, I love keeping reptiles, but I also enjoy making money. And so as a business, a lot of animals are actually investments for me, right? So picking certain animals is very important, and understanding how the market's going and trying to take educated guesses about what's going to keep its value, what's going to go up in value, what has potential. It's all very important for the business. So we're going to take a look at that today, and just a couple of things I want to talk about first. At the end of the video, we're going to have a new, how do you say, kind of segment where I'm going to show off maybe 2 or 3 geckos that I think are really awesome geckos. And if any animal is specifically mentioned in a video and it's something you're interested in, DM me on Instagram. I'll talk more about it later, but if the animal is talked about in the video, it will have a discount on it. So hopefully that'll just kind of, like, you know, incentivize really cool animals to get going. And it might save me. I'm gonna show animals that aren't on the website or on Morph Market. So that's gonna, you know, keep me from posting it and showing you guys and giving you guys first look at some of the animals I produce. So with that being said, we'll get into this video, and next week we'll have the Fresno Expo, so look out for that video as well. Okay, so here we are currently looking at my Morph Market. I'm going to apologize, the table squeaks a little bit because it's just a card table. And actually, let's start with the animal I bought. So we're going to go to categories, we're going to go to colubrids, we're going to go to CornSnakes, and we're going to go visual palmettos, and hopefully at the very end, no, maybe he didn't put it on hold yet. Let's see. Well, it's not on here. He must have marked it as sold. But I bought a visual palmetto. Now, first off, let's talk about the animal I bought, right? So I bought a baby female palmetto. No other morphs, just palmetto. And let's just pick this one. Let's pick this one, because this kind of reminds me of the one that I bought. So I bought a female, and they're going for $600. Like, that's not, they're all at least $600, right? So, except for this one. So they're all $600, which is awesome. You know, a year or 2 years ago, they were $1,000. So $600, first off, it's not a terrible price decrease. It's not, you know, it's normal for a snake to drop that much in 2 years. That's fine. I bought a female with bug eyes, similar to this one. And so I got a good deal, and it was also Black Friday. So I paid $400 shipped for this animal, not this specific animal, but the animal that I bought. So I have a baby female palmetto. Now, here's the thing I don't agree with, or the thing that people might not agree with me. Now, a lot of people stay away from the bug eyes. They're afraid if they breed it, it will keep going on and on and on and on, right? But there is a podcast called Port City Pythons. Love their podcast. It's actually been quite a while since I listened to it. I think pre-COVID is when I stopped listening to it. Not for any reason. I just got busy. But they actually had a scientist on there. I forget his name. It was Dr. Travis Wyman or something along those lines. I could be confusing that. But that guy breeds ball pythons, and so he knows a lot about reptile genetics. He is a geneticist. And so Port City Pythons breeds a lot of CornSnakes. They also have palmettos. So he said that you could take, in theory, 2 really bug-eyed snakes and breed them together, and you have the exact same spectrum of non to bug-eyed snake babies coming out. So buying 2 bug-eyed snakes doesn't matter. It doesn't mean you're going to produce more bug eyes. It doesn't mean. It just means your adults have bug eye. So I picked up a cheap female with that understanding. Now, I don't think a lot of people know that. I don't think a lot of people believe that. I do believe that. I trust his source, himself. That is something we see in geckos a lot. If you're familiar with leopard geckos, you will know the Enigma gene. Now, Enigma gene is kind of like spider ball pythons, right? Everyone knows spider ball pythons. The animal stargazes, spins, maybe they're not the best eaters, maybe they don't hold weight very well. That's what it's like in leopard geckos anyway, right? But it makes them colorful, so who cares, right? Obviously, people still care. I'm just messing around. But you can take two geckos that are showing a lot of Enigma syndrome. It's called showing it when they have it a lot, because some have the colors of Enigma, but are perfectly normal. They'd be humans that perform regularly in society. But you can take two that have really bad Enigma syndrome and breed them together, and you're still going to get that same spectrum of some are going to come out pretty normal and some are going to come out higher on the spectrum. Now, it's the same thing with these, so I was not deterred by buying a female with bug eyes. In fact, I looked at it as a price saving, which is good because the less I can buy into a project and still get the same result, the more return I can see, right? If I only spend $400 on a female, then the first year I make that back, instead of maybe I only make $400 the first year, but I spent $600, then I'm still in the hole. So getting into a project cheaper is better, but you don't want to sacrifice quality, right? So I took this chance, knowing it wouldn't affect quality, but all it did was affect my price. Now my female is going to have slightly, her eyes are going to poke out slightly more than normal, but I'm not worried about that. Here's another picture of a Palmetto. You can see a little poking out right here. This is an albino actually, or an A male. So I want to talk about the other animals I was considering. I mentioned this in a comment with someone else, and I talked about it. I was planning on getting a lychee, and I do still plan on getting a lychee. The only problem with that was I was in contact with somebody, again on Black Friday. I had picked out the locality I want. It wasn't this. This is just what I'm going for. And a couple of things deterred me. One, I don't know very much about lychees. Two, I wanted a baby, and I'm aware they take a while to grow up. But I asked for a Black Friday deal, and I wasn't even that big of a discount, and the guy told me, yes, but because I wanted a discount, I wouldn't be able to do 3 payment plans. I would only be able to do 2 payment plans, which the animal was still like $1,000. So I was like, what's the point? You're not going to be able to ship it till 3 months from now after Christmas anyway. He didn't care. So I was kind of deterred from lychees, again, thinking I don't know very much about them. So I went on to CornSnakes. Now, this is something you have to think about when getting into reptile investments. If you have no reptiles making you money, start with something really cheap that breeds really fast. I'm talking dubia roaches, I'm talking isopods, something along those lines, right? And then you move into something like leopard geckos. Leopard geckos are considered year to year. I can produce an egg halfway through the season this year, and it can breed next season. Something at the end of the year you might struggle with, but something like a crested gecko, even if I produce at the beginning of the year, there's very low chance you're going to have it up to size the next year. Those are more of a year and a half, but because of seasonal stuff, you generally wait 2 years. Now, from what I understand, lychees, and along with most snakes, it takes 3 years. So I'm willing to wait on my palmettos. I was willing to wait on lychee, and I will. I'll get into some lychees eventually. I have no doubt about that. But let's go back to CornSnakes. So I have enough stuff going on where I'm willing to wait the 3 years to get a palmetto up to size. Now, I knew I could find something I'd wanted to wait for. I knew I wanted something that in 3 years when I bred it, they'd still be worth around $500, right? I want to be able to produce a clutch of 10 $500 animals. I really do. That's that's kind of the goal. I try to stay away from stuff under $200 babies, just because it doesn't make sense for the business, right? So another thing I looked at was scaleless. I actually looked at these before palmettos, and I wanted a reverse Okatee so I could put it into my beautiful reverse Okatee line and make scaleless. Now the problem with this is scaleless about 2 years ago, just the same with palmettos, they were about $1,000. I know someone who bought one of each 2 years ago, and he paid about $1,000 each for them. Now, yes, some of these are still $700, but these are all still full of other morphs. A lot of them are dipping under 400. The het scaleless are very, very cheap, $100, right? $90. Het palmettos are still, more than that. So my thought process here was, well, let's take a look at scaleless ball pythons, right? Scaleless ball pythons dropped in price very, very rapidly. For a snake morph that changes an animal this much, they dropped in price dramatically. And they're not as near what they were, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever they first came out. I remember watching Brian Barczyk's video when he first hatched them. But so scaleless drops a lot. So I expect it to do the same thing, because the ball python market is just a very cash hungry market, right? So maybe it takes longer for CornSnakes, but I do expect them to drop fairly quickly. In terms of palmettos, if I go back to CornSnakes, probably wasn't the fastest way, but if I go back to palmettos, palmetto is a crazy morph that changes the color. If you look at any sort of super color changing either snake or gecko or anything, well, first off, they can drop fairly quickly, and I think the reason for that is everyone freaks out, everyone buys them, everyone breeds them, right? So the initial drop off can be quite large. Like I said, these were very expensive not too long ago, but I think it still holds up pretty well. If you look at, say, up-hide ball python, they've been at $300, $350 for years now. And I see, even if it takes me 3 years to get a group of palmettos up, a pair, I see the babies selling for $400 or $500 for years and years to come. So that's kind of the idea of how I'm thinking it through. I believe lychees to do the same thing. Now, I'm no expert. I do know a lot, but everything I'm saying and everything I'm deciding is just going off of what I've seen before and how I believe the market's going to react, right? Now, there's a lot of animals. Let's go to geckos. Let's go to crested geckos. Crested geckos have a lot of new morphs, right? We have Xanthics. If you follow Altitude Exotics, he just bought some of the melanistics. There's a couple other ones coming out. But if we go to Xanthics, let's see how much they are. That one's 10,000. That one's 15,000. These ones are a lot cheaper. That one's het, so that doesn't count. But this one's a lot cheaper. Just a year and a half ago, they were 10, 20,000. So the fact that they're going lower is because people are breeding them. So the more people that buy them and breed them, the cheaper they get. So what you really want to do if you're trying to make money with reptiles is you're trying to get an animal that's dropped either enough in value that by the time you raise it up and breed it, and give yourself some leeway here, you can still make decent money on it. And maybe you can hold some of your own back, so you're not buying more and raising them up, you're just holding them back. It's the same thing with the lily-white. I bought it for $1,000. I bred it. Now they're more like $500. But I've got two I'm selling, so that's my initial money right there. I'm selling two this year, and I'm holding back one. So in a year or two, I'll have two producing. And of course, next year, hopefully she'll lay more than 3 eggs or more than a couple clutches. And any money I do make from those babies, it's not going to make back that initial payment. It's going to, fund the next project. Maybe I'll be buying Xanthics next year. Who knows? So that's really what I'm getting at here. And it's a hard process because every animal is its own niche, right? Like, I don't work with tortoises, but I do know there are leucistic tortoises. It's an ivory, right? They're $750. I guarantee you. I saw these at an expo, actually, at the Lodi Expo. I guarantee you 2 years ago these were probably like $5,000. Now tortoises, and everything's different, right? Leopard geckos drop a lot quicker because you can buy a leopard gecko and breed it the next year and make babies and sell them. Tortoises are going to take a lot longer to raise up, so the prices are going to drop slower. The first person who breeds them is going to breed them and sell them for their price for a couple years before anyone else can breed them. So that's something you guys really have to take into consideration. All right, I think that's enough business talk for a little bit. I really hope you guys enjoyed that part of the video. I hope it made sense. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Instagram, YouTube comments aren't really the best. I check them on my phone, and the app for YouTube comments on the phone is terrible. Message me on Instagram. Let's get a one-on-one conversation going. If you have questions, if you have something you think might be a good idea and you want my opinion, reach out, let me know. I'm definitely here to help. I want to answer you guys' questions. I want to help out as much as I can. But I'm going to help you guys. I want you guys to help me. Give me a couple minutes of your time. We're going to look at like 2 or 3 geckos, and we'll talk about them, and I'll give you guys a good deal on them too if you're interested. So we have, let's see, I know there's a Tangerine Tornado. I should have marked these. I just cleaned them. Not that one. This one. So this is a Tangerine Tornado from my Geckos Etc. line. Looks like a female. She's super deep orange actually. So like this one's from a different female, same male. You can see how much paler she is, right? So I have some that are those paler, but these dark orange ones, let's take a look at my holdbacks. What the heck am I looking for? Oh, I put her over here, huh? Yeah, so this is a holdback right here. You can see how dark she is. This holdback looked just like this baby, and look at that holdback. Look at how orange and solid she is. Now, I don't think I saw this animal. I do have a lot of geckos, so it's hard. I miss some. I don't realize the color. I might see them in shed. A whole lot of things, right? So this gecko is awesome. I usually sell my Tangerine Tornadoes for $200. That's what they're posted for on Morph Market, on the website, jamesjeptiles.com. Check it out. Someone buy a gecko on my website because I have no idea how the shop works. They just said add products, and I'm like, okay. I have no idea how the shop works. I don't think my PayPal's linked to it. I have no idea. Buy a gecko, reach out to me. We'll figure it out together. If you help me out, I'll give you a discount or something. But this gecko, if you're interested, it is going to be ID number 2159, and I will sell you guys this gecko for $150. Like I said, we're going to do discounts in this kind of segment. So that one for sure. Let's find another gecko I don't have listed for sale. How about this guy? This is going to be 2105. This is going to be a Max Super Snow, 50% Black Knight, double het, Eclipse, and patternless. It says Blizzard. It's not Blizzard. So this is actually a Super Snow. Is this backwards legs? This might be backwards legs. This is backwards legs. He is a Black Knight. He's a cross Black Knight, so you can tell he's a little darker than a regular Super Snow. He's het Eclipse, het patternless. I would prefer not to sell this to someone who wants to breed it. That given said, this gecko definitely needs a home, and I can't hold on to him forever. If you're interested in this gecko, I will sell this to you for $100. Just let me know. Trying to clear up some rack space for the next year. Definitely going to have to get another rack for the next year as well. So that's going to be backwards legs. That's kind of been his name since I got him, or since I hatched him, actually. And that does happen. When I worked at a gecko breeding facility, we saw backwards legs animals. You know, not all the time, but definitely somewhat often. So let's pick another random gecko. Sure, why not? This is going to be 2184. So this is a Black Knight, pos het, patternless Eclipse. Definitely a snow. You can see that it is, you know, that black and white that snows are with a tiny tinge of yellow. This animal, let's see. I don't know the temp sex, but if I had to guess, female. So I usually sell these for $175, $200. It is a 50% Black Knight. If you're interested in this animal, let me know. DM me on Instagram. I'll give it to you for $125. And with that being said, that's going to end that news segment where I show you geckos in the rack and I give you a discount. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned something. I hope you take something away from this, and look forward to seeing palmettos on the channel. You know, I'm at that point in the reptile room where, you know, every year I'm going to be making a little bit more and more money, and I can you know, start to upgrade some stuff. Instead of breeding, you know, $100 corn snakes, I can start breeding $500 corn snakes. And once they start bringing in more money, I can, you know, add exanthics to the crested geckos. And once that brings in more money, I can get more exotic snakes. Like I like the blue beauties. I can get maybe the cave dwelling rat snakes. And then maybe those start breeding and make money, and then maybe I get a bigger room or something, right? So it all compounds, and it's definitely exciting to see it happen in action, and that's what we're doing here. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. All that definitely helps with the channel. If you're interested in one of those geckos, shoot me a DM with the number, with the ID number, and I will let you guys purchase those. So thank you guys for watching. Peace out, and I'll see you in the next video.